dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.
Hello, welcome to Liberty Nation Radio, heard coast to coast on the Radio America Network. I'm your host, Mark Angelides. On today's edition, we are talking Venezuela, third world immigration, and a warning for America from across the Atlantic. Please remember, Liberty Nation Radio is sponsored by LibertyNation.com. You can access podcasts, breaking news, analysis, and a range of biting and brilliant shows to whet your appetite for freedom and your fondness for the great American Constitution. And we're here on Liberty Nation Radio, heard coast to coast on the Radio America Network. I'm your host, as always, Mr. Mark Angelides, joined today, as we often are, by longtime host of this here radio show and Liberty Nation senior political analyst, Mr. Tim Donner. Thanks for being here, Tim.
Hello, Mark. Good to be here again.
So, it really is great to have you on. I'm hoping we're looking for a big, wide-ranging discussion, but the first thing I have to zoom in on today is the recent announcement by Kristi Noem, the Homeland Security Secretary, who posted out that she and I'm going to quote here, I just met with the president. I'm recommending a full travel ban on every damn country that's been flooding our nation with killers, leeches, and entitlement junkies. She goes on to say that the forefathers built the nation on blood, sweat, and love. Not for foreign invaders to slaughter our heroes, suck dry our hard-earned tax dollars, or snatch the benefits owed to Americans. We don't want them, not one. Tim, does she seem a bit upset to you?
What does she really think?
Yeah, what does she really think?
What does she really think?
She was holding back, in my opinion.
Yeah.
What do you
She was demonstrating admirable restraint.
Yeah, just dropping subtle hints about what she wants, right? It's like, trying to organize where you want to go for dinner in an evening. What are your thoughts, Tim?
It is tough to paint with such a broad brush after an incident that was truly chilling, frightening. It's tough to say, well, everybody that fits the same demographic profile as that person should therefore be banned from entering the United States. But the problem is really quite simple. When all these Afghans managed to escape during the disastrous Afghan withdrawal by the Biden administration, they just jumped on the plane or held onto it and were basically rushed out of there to save them, because they had helped us to stabilize the situation in Afghanistan over a number of years. But because of the absolutely butchered withdrawal from Afghanistan, including the 13 members of the military who were killed during the Abbey Gate debacle, it was impossible to vet them properly. Now, the Biden administration said we did vet them properly, but it's obviously clear that they didn't, and probably even that they couldn't, because it turned into an emergency situation where you didn't have time to stop and consider and do the careful research you need into each person's background, most of whom probably didn't have any background information available about them, because Afghanistan's not exactly a democracy or a constitutional republic where record keeping is of such a high value.
There's really something to consider there, isn't there? It's like when the Biden administration says it did the background checks. Now, I am absolutely positive that they did the at least bare minimum of what the background check that they have determined is suitable entails. That doesn't mean that it's a suitable background check. It's just what they've deemed to be a suitable background check.
Yes.
Because you've got, as you rightly point out, this is not a bastion of bureaucracy, which some may say, well, that's a good thing, right? But it also means that, if you say your name is Mohammed Al Abdul, there's 6,000 people with the same name, and there's no central record keeping. These people didn't go to a school. They haven't had hospitals, things like this. There's no way of saying which one of him are you. There's no way to determine that. So all they're basing it on is two things. One is what answers they give when they're asked questions once they've landed in the United States. Have you ever been part of a terrorist organization? Not me, boss. Not
Right
me.
answer.
No, right, correct. Great. Do you wish the United States any harm? Not me, boss. Not going to happen, right? They're not going to answer in the affirmative to those. And the other aspect is some of these people, they helped in Afghanistan.
Yes.
And so we might say, well, these guys helped us. But you also have to think about why they helped, because Afghanistan, for a very, very long time, has been warring tribal sects with different beliefs, different political affiliations, different chiefs, different regional, what's the right word here? Different bonds to different parts of the land. And they've been at war with each other. Now, if somebody says, hey, I'm going to help the CIA operative here to bomb, to go and get these people, because you know what, John Smith from the CIA, these guys, they're terrorists. These guys are really bad. In this village that they've been at war with, this tribe that they've been at war with for 200 years, we don't know what their reasons for helping the CIA were, or helping the American troops were, what their motivations were, or if they had ulterior motives in trying to settle blood feuds that have been ongoing for generations. We don't know that these people decided, hey, I love America and I'm going to help Americans. It seems highly unlikely based on, well, the entire history of Afghanistan, Tim.
Well, Afghanistan has long been a hellscape, honestly, in a country that no power has been able to take over and dominate.
I beg to differ. The
Genghis Khan.
Wait,
Since
Genghis
Khan.
Although it wasn't Genghis Khan, was it? It was his first son, who wasn't his heir. His heir was Obadiah III.
So now you're just showing off.
Yes, a little bit. But it was his first son who took Afghanistan.
But I think, you look at Afghanistan, and let's give another example of what a hellhole it generally has been over the years. First of all, it's such a mountainous country, it's almost impossible to conquer, as we just discussed. But let's not forget that when the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan in 1979, we were obviously opposed to that and trying to kick the Russians out. And among the people who helped us was a guy named Osama bin Laden. Now, he was on our side, so to speak, during the Soviet-Afghanistan war, or the invasion by the Soviets. So does that mean that because Osama bin Laden helped us, we should facilitate, a fine life for him and give him everything he wants? Well, the answer is that he was opposed to any foreign invasion or any foreign occupation. So you have no idea what these people really believe down deep.
Yeah.
And this is a problem that's going to fester for the entire 4 years of the Trump administration, because Afghan refugees are just one part of a much larger problem. 10 million people at a minimum were admitted into the United States during the Biden administration. We don't know where a lot of those people are. There were 300,000 children that were unaccounted for by the time Trump took office. And so, the electorate said, to the tune of about 60%, we want all illegal aliens, all of them, including the criminals and those who are simply here illegally, to be subject to mass deportation. This is what people voted for. But now that Trump is doing all the dirty work to clean up after Biden, now suddenly the left is all up in arms. But I would suggest that the left has forfeited its right to criticize the Trump policy for cleaning up the mess that Biden created. They had their chance for 4 years They did nothing. So now, have the grown-ups back in charge who are going to do the hard work of, basically making the country safer by trying to get rid of the worst of the worst. And some will be swept up who have done nothing more than entered the country illegally, but it's still a crime. And it's a tip of a much larger iceberg that's not going to thaw out in the 4 years of the Trump administration.
Yeah, in the words of that notable peacemaker screaming at Supreme Court justices, you will reap the whirlwind. We'll be back with Tim after this short break.
We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.